Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. Today is our college football betting edition. And as always, on Tuesdays, I'm joined by one of the best NFL handicappers in the country. And as a matter of fact, he cracked the leaderboard in college football as well, Mr. Sean Higgs. Me and him go back a long way. We started around the same time, as I recall, Sean. And, my friend, I'm very proud of you. You made a good name for yourself in this business, and you're knocking him dead in football this year. Not only football, this guy's a great college basketball handicapper as well. Anyway, before we get going, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Thanks, Red. Yeah, long time we've known each other.
Back
in the early days of the interwebs, getting on this, way before people TikToking and Instagram and all this other stuff, Discord rooms. We were old school.
There was no social media back then,
No.
But there also wasn't a lot of ways that you could document handicappers picks like there are now, which I'm glad, because I always call for regulation in this business. But if you notice, Sean, there's been a big influx of these great sites that are out there right now, picksandparleys.net being one of them, sportsmemo.com. The list goes on. There's 4 or 5 major companies out there right now that do a great job of making sure the handicappers are documented, giving us access to where we can look up streaks and what our season records are and what have you. And that speaks for itself, because as soon as our picks go up, or as soon as our games go off, you could see them on that site, on those particular sites. So there's no hidden agenda, right, Sean?
Yeah, not like the old days of, you take the Eagles, I take the Giants, and listen, it is what it is. I mean, it's better.
I like the world and all that kind of stuff. And I like Stu. He's a good guy, but he's a shyster. So I mean,
he's a character. I met him down in the Meadowlands not Meadowlands. We're at
he's
Monmouth Park when they opened up.
He's a character, doesn't do him justice. He's a cartoon character, is what I call him. Anyway. College football, let's get to it. You have the Indiana and Purdue game. And before I get to that, Sean, just fill the folks in on how you've been doing of late, and anything else you want to share with them in terms of where they could find your picks, what you might have for sale right now, etc.
Yes, as I mentioned, college football got over that 52%. We're at 54% plus money in college. I knew I'd get there. Grind them out. 6-4 kind of days you'll get there. And, I finally got over the hump into the 54% range. I'll take it. But NFL 67%, just absolutely demolishing NFL. I'm like having a great season there. Totals, NFL totals 21-5, 81%. I can't believe it. 81%.
Yeah.
21-5. I'm like, wow, I should put on more totals. Midday, find me the midday money show 7 days a week. Find it on YouTube. Type in, midday money Sean Higgs. It'll come up. It's live every day, 12 noon Eastern. And coming up, I'm going to have college hoops is here. And college, we just mentioned before, down to the last 2 weeks before we got in there. We're like, man, only 2 weeks of the regular season left here. It's crazy. Like this, Thanksgiving, December's a couple weeks away.
It's crazy. I know. I hear you, my friend. It's just like every year the college football season seems to fly by. But we still got the NFL, and hey, college basketball started last night with a plethora of games. How about Queens College out of North Carolina knocking off Marshall? How about Arkansas Pine Bluff is a 35-point underdog, losing by just 1 to number 14 TCU. I don't think TCU is going to be in the top 25 after that result. Anyway.
I had the wrong Arkansas. I had Arkansas Little Rock, and they got blasted by 20. I was getting about a dozen there, so I was on the wrong Arkansas squad.
Well, that's a rare occasion, and Sean mentions he's 67% in the NFL this year. Folks, not only is that an impressive number, but when you consider the amount of picks he puts out, he's a volume handicapper, unlike myself. If you hit 67% of your plays through 9 weeks of the NFL season, and you're putting out anywhere
from 100 games. It's 100 plus games I got.
100 plus games, and he's hitting 67%. Do the math, folks. 26 of those are totals, and he's 21-5 with his totals. All right, let's get to our free picks. Purdue at Illinois, 12 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Illinois right now is 6.5-point favorite. at home. 44.5 is a total. These are two teams. I know Illinois is really good defensively. I'm not sold on Tommy DeVito. I know he's got decent numbers. I don't know. There's something, you're not going to get to the promised land with him. They come off a loss last week, a real disappointing loss. Purdue, who I thought was going to be good at one time this year, Sean, they've faltered of late. So what do you got for us?
Yeah, and this one actually, this was a 46.5, 47 opener. It's come down, and I was going to be like, let's go under, because Illinois, these are their scores: 23-7, 26-9, 26-14, 9-6, 34-10, 31-0, 24-3, and 38-6. Not one of these have gone over. No. And they opened this up at a 46-47. Okay, it's come down because somebody had to be like, wow, Illinois actually has a defense that gives up 10 points a game. Purdue didn't look good last week. Couldn't do anything. Granted, it was like a windstorm in the Midwest. We saw that in the Ohio State game. It was kind of crazy. I still like the under here. Illinois is not a 30-point team. That's not how they play.
No. This
is a Boilermaker team. They're going to want to run a ball. Purdue's going to want to throw it a little bit. Give me the under. And also, how about let's take Purdue here at 6.5? Why do I feel that everybody's going to be run to, let's take Illinois? You only got to win by a touchdown. So automatically, I'm going to be on a dog in this spot. Purdue in kind of a must-win kind of role here, as if they want to get into the bowl. They're 5-4. So you want to take that 6.5 in the under? Let's go. I'm thinking 2017. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. 44 is not a high total in today's college football.
No, not by this.
That's an accident. Like NFL, like you see some of these 40s, you get there by accident at 23-20, even this one, 24-20, you're at that total. You're like, oh my goodness, I hope I don't get overtime at 20-20, but this one screams to me and under, and I like the dog here with the 6.5 with the Boilermakers. So I like Brown. I like the coach over there. I like both. Dog in the under.
Purdue plus 6.5 and Purdue and Illinois under the total of 44.5. From Mr. Sean Higgs. Folks, before I get to my pick, we are the last 4 weeks on this channel, the combination of all the handicappers, including myself, 27-13 the last 4 weeks. We put out 10 free picks per week. I put out 5 per week. I'm 14-6 over that time, 27-13 over the last 4 weeks. All the pundits or all the people who like to chime in when we lose, they've been very quiet of late. That's okay. 68%. That's okay. You could be quiet. I hope you're winning money. Okay. Just remember that if we have a bad week, because I know a lot of you negative people out there can't wait to say, look, you guys don't know what you're doing. You lost. You stink. Anyway, but remember too, folks, we sell our picks for a living, and you could find Sean at picksandparleys.net. You could find me at rbwins.com. My NFL is doing awfully well. As a matter of fact, my NFL 10-star top plays, my best bets, 9-1 this year. NFL dating back to January 30th, I am 45-26, around 62%. Last I checked, that's pretty good. College football coming around, Sean. 11-8 over the last 3 weeks. Not great, but it's still winning money. And still at that threshold of about one game over 500. And I just know I'm going to go on a torrid run down the stretch. You could bank on that, folks. So rbwins.com is my site. Let me get to my game. Sean, you have anything else you want to add?
No, I just, take it easy, folks. We got college football's winding down. I get it. You got a lot of college basketball, NBA hockey. Things are on TV. You don't got to bet all these things all the time.
No, exactly right. Because what ends up happening at this time of year, I got so much going on with all these sports. And if you're gambling on them all, it's even worse. Okay. And what I say that is you don't have to make 30 picks a night because you got all these mainstream sports going on at the present time. And as it is, at this time of year, we're working our tail off. And like I always tell my wife, I don't need a haircut in the month of November because I'm pulling my hair out most of the time to keep up with everything. And I can't say the same for Sean because
I shave it. I refuse to pull it out. I shave it. It's not bald. It's bald by choice. I shave it.
A lot less painful. All right. I got the Notre Dame and Navy game, Sean, 12 p.m. Eastern time as well. This game will be played in Baltimore, the site of the Baltimore Ravens home field. I believe it's M&T Field. I can't remember. Anyway, it's in Baltimore. Names. Yeah. Notre Dame opened as 17 and they're now 16.5. Here's the thing. For those of you who follow college football betting, know that it's very rare when Notre Dame is not getting the majority of bets and the majority of money. I mean, there's a loyal contingent of Notre Dame bettors out there that if they were laying 21 against Georgia tomorrow, half of them would bet Notre Dame. Okay, I'm being a little facetious, but you get my drift. However, in this particular matchup, right now, as we speak, the source that I use, 59% of the bets made so far have been on a Navy midshipman, and that's accounted for 95% of the total money bet on this game has gone to Navy. Wow. And the only thing, I guess, what I can conclude from that is people are expecting a Notre Dame letdown. After all, they're coming off huge wins, right, Sean?
Yeah, Syracuse and Clemson.
Both teams are rated at the time. Clemson still rated, Syracuse no longer. But, I mean, Clemson was number 5 at the time they faced them, and they blew them out last week. Syracuse has since dropped out of the top 25, but when they faced them at that particular moment in time, they were number 16. But here's the thing. Even if Notre Dame doesn't bring their A game, let's face it, human element comes into play. I always factor in emotion. You play Clemson, you play Syracuse on the road. You've beaten North Carolina and handed them their only loss of the year, and in convincing manner, I should say, in Chapel Hill. Even if Notre Dame isn't at their best, they're still too big, too physical, and too athletic for a very undersized Navy team. And like last year, this isn't glory days of Navy football. They're better than last year, but they still have a long way to go. And everybody likes to talk about, Navy's time of possession, 34-46. Well, Notre Dame holds the ball for 32-59 a game. So they're not bad as well. So, I mean, Notre Dame, after that 0-2 start, 6-1 the last 7, including 3-0 the last 3. And I just think Notre Dame is going to be way, way too athletic and big, and they're going to impose their will physically on this undersized Navy team. And by the way, Notre Dame's won the last 3 years by 22 plus points on each occasion versus Navy. I'm taking Notre Dame minus 16.5 against Navy. And that game, again, will be played in Baltimore, Maryland. And although that's in close proximity to the Navy campus in Annapolis, you could bet your bippy that Notre Dame will have the vast amount of people in the audience, right? So, again, we're going to go with Sean Higgs, Purdue, plus the 6.5, and Purdue and Illinois under 44.5. I'm going with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, latest 16.5 against Navy. Any final words before we leave?
Yeah, I'm a little worried because I kind of like Navy a little bit. I'm like, you know what, Notre Dame, couple big wins. Maybe they.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're right. They've beaten these guys, and Notre Dame's a team. I think, did we do the Clemson game last week? Because that game was a fishy line. The stinky fish game, but Clemson has a 3 there. That looked
I know we did it on this channel. I'm not sure if you did it in particular. I know I didn't. But I know we went 7-3 last week, and I believe me and you went 2-0. So,
Notre Dame, weird. Lose to Stanford, lose to Marshall, and then again on the road, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Syracuse off the Clemson game. You beat Clemson. BYU on the road in Vegas. Man, they really, as much as the hate was there for Notre Dame, they've last 3 weeks. Come on, you're dropping 40. I don't care, UNLV.
Yeah,
this could be a UNLV type kind of game here, 40-20. I mean, Navy scoring is not a.
Yeah, I mean, in UNLV, they're not a football powerhouse, but they're
maybe an under here as well. You mentioned a time of possession, and they're both kind of run first kind of squads.
Yeah, it's like 42.5, I believe.
So low. 40.
So
wow, that's a low one.
44.5. When you talk about 44.5 being low by college football standards, 42.5. Yeah, so I think we got some winners here for you again. But for Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, don't forget, folks, before we sign off, one quick reminder. I told you our record on this channel over the last 4 weeks, 27-13 combined with all the handicappers. It's absolutely free to subscribe. You're watching this because you're a sports betting fan. You like sports betting. You like the topic material, and you like to bet on sports yourself. Why would you not subscribe for absolutely nothing? For those of you who have subscribed, we'd like to thank you. And if you haven't hit that notification bell, when you subscribe, you should. You'll be notified right away upon any of our Winner's Circle sports betting podcasts going up on this channel. And don't forget, we may be old, but we still like when you give us a like at the end of the video. So until the next time, for Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.